जय राधा माधवा कुंजा बिहारी। जय राधा माधवा कुंजा बिहारी। जय गोपी जनावल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जनावल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन। यमुनतीरावनचारी। यमुनतीरावनचारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण राम राम। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 जय राधा मदन मोहन राधा मदन मोहन राधे। जय जगन्नाथ जगन्नाथ बलदेवा जय सुभद्रमय जय जगन्नाथ जगन्नाथ बलदेवा जय सुभद्र। जय गौरनिताय 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 जय गौरनिताय। जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 प्रभुपाद। युगधर्म श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तनम की, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की, श्रील प्रभुपाद की। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। Hare Krishna. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, 29th chapter, talks between Narada and King Prachinabarhi. Text number 54. This sloka is very unusual. It is in prose order. Sumana samadharmanam स्त्रीणां शरणे आश्रमे पुष्पं मधुगन्धवत् क्षुद्रतमं काम काम्यकाम यकर्म विपाकजं कामसुकलवं जैह्व्या औपस्त्य आदिविचिन्तवम् ततं मैथुने भूयात् तत् अभिनिवेशेषिता मनसं सतङ्ग्रिगणसमा गीतवत् मनोहर वनिता आदि जन आलपेषु अतितराम् अति प्रलोभिता कर्णम् अग्रे वृका यथा वत् आत्मनः आयुहरत अहरात्रन् तान् काललवविशेषन् अविगणय्या गृहेषु विहरतम् पृष्ठतः एव परोक्षमम् अनुप्रवृत्ता लुब्धः कृत अन्त अन्तःशरेणयम् इह परा वैदही तम इमम् आत्मनम् अहोराजन् भिन्न हृदयं द्रष्टुम् अर्हसि अर्हसि इति. What we should do? Should can we go ahead with word meaning, bro? We'll go ahead with word meaning with blessings of Sumanaha, flowers, Samadharanam, exactly like Strinam of women, Sharane in the shelter, Ashrame household life, Pushpa in flowers, Madhu of honey, Gandha the aroma, Vat like Kshudratamam most insignificant, Kamya desired, Karma of activities, Vipakajam obtained as a result, Kama Sukha of sense gratification, Lavam a fragrant, Jihvaya enjoyment of the tongue, Aupastya sex enjoyment, Adi beginning with, Vichinvatam always thinking of, Mithuni Bhuya engaging in sex life, Tat in his wife, Abhinivesha always absorbed, Manasam whose mind, Sat angry of bumblebees, Gana of crowds, Shama gentle, Gita chanting, Vat like, Ati very, Manohara attractive, Vanita Adi beginning with the wife, Jana of people, Alapeshu to the talks, Atitaram excessively, Ati very much, Prilobhita attracted, Karanam whose ears, Agre in front, Vrkayuta a group of tigers, Vat like, Atmanaha of oneself, Ayuhu span of life, Harataha taking away, Aharatran days and nights, Tan all of them, Kalalava Viseshan the moments of time, Aviganaya without considering, Gruheshu in household life, Viharantam enjoying prushtatah from the back, eva certainly, paroksham without being seen, anupravrittah following behind, lubdakah the hunter, kruta antaha the superintendent of death, antaha in the heart, sharena by an arrow, yam whom, iha in this world, paravidyate pierces, tam that, imam this, atmanam yourself, ahorajan o king, binna hridayam whose heart is pierced, drashtum to see, arhasi you ought, iti thus. जय श्री शारदा मदन मोहन की, श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की, श्री श्री गौनिताय की, श्रील प्रभुपाद की. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. My dear king, woman who is very attractive in the beginning, but in the end very disturbing, is exactly like the flower, who is attractive in the beginning and detestable in the end. With women, the living entity is entangled with lusty desires and he enjoys sex just as one enjoys the aroma of a flower. He thus enjoys a life of sense gratification from his tongue to his genitals. And in this way, the living entity considers himself very happy in family life. United with his wife, he always remains absorbed in such thoughts. He feels great pleasure in hearing the talks of his wife and children, which are like sweet humming of bumblebees that collect honey from flower to flower. He forgets that before him is time which is taking away his lifespan with the passing of day and night. He does not see the gradual diminishing of his life, nor does he care about the superintendent of death, who is trying to kill him from behind. Just try to understand this. You are in a precarious position and are threatened from all sides. Purport. Materialistic life means forgetting one's constitutional position as the eternal servant of Krishna. And this forgetfulness is especially enhanced in the Grihastha Ashrama. In the Grihastha Ashrama, a young man accepts a young wife who is very beautiful in the beginning, but in due course of time, after giving birth to many children and becoming older and older, she demands many things from the husband to maintain the entire family. At such a time, the wife becomes detestable to the very man who accepted her in her younger days. One becomes attached to the Grihastha Ashrama for two reasons only. The wife cooks palatable dishes for the satisfaction of her husband's tongue, and she gives him sexual pleasure at night. A person attached to the Grihastha Ashrama is always thinking of these two things, palatable food and sex enjoyment. The talks of the wife, which are enjoyed as family recreation, the talks of the children, both attract the living entity. He thus forgets that he has to die someday and has to prepare for the next life if he wants to be put into a congenial body. The deer in the flower garden is an allegory used by the great sage Narada to point out to the king that the king himself is similarly entrapped by such surroundings. Actually, living entity thus forgets that he has to return home back to Godhead. He simply becomes entangled in family life. Prahlad Maharaj has therefore hinted Hitvatma papam gruhamanda kupam vanam gato yad harimashrayet. Family life is considered a blind well, andakupam, into which a person falls and dies without help. Prahlad Maharaj recommends that while one's senses are there and one is strong enough, he should abandon Grihastha ashram and take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, going to the forest of Vrindavana. According to Vedic civilization, one has to give up family life at a certain age, the age of 50. Take Vanaprastha and eventually remain alone as a sannyasi. That is the prescribed method of Vedic civilization known as Varnashrama Dharma. When one takes sannyasa after enjoying family life, he pleases the Supreme Lord Vishnu. One has to understand one's position in family or worldly life. That is called intelligence. One should not remain always trapped in family life to satisfy his tongue and genitals in association with a wife. In such a way, one simply spoils his life. According to Vedic civilization, it is imperative to give up the family at a certain stage by force if necessary. Unfortunately, so called followers of Vedic life do not give up their family even at the end of life unless they are forced by death. There should be a thorough overhauling of the social system, and the society should revert to the Vedic principles, that is, four varnas and four ashramas. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमा ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरत्युषे नमः हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Today, I really definitely need blessings of all the assembled Vaishnavas, especially His Grace Anandmai Prabhu. This is very, very illuminating words of Srila Prabhupada, all smashing all misconceptions and revealing the truth about it. I really not at all qualified to speak about this, but as a service and whatever I heard from superiors, even though I am far away from application of all these things, as a service and as a purification of my heart, I like to share some of the things. Please bear with me and forgive me if I speak anything which is improper. So Prabhupada writes in the Upanishad, one of the famous sentence, the human life is a life of heavy responsibility. You know, so that statement itself is very heavy. Human life is a heavy responsibility, not just responsibility, but very heavy responsibility. And there he gives example about a high court judge and the clerk, because the high court judge is taken up the heavy responsibility. He was given so many facilities compared to the clerk. In fact, the clerk seems to be working more hard than the high court judge, but high court judge is receiving the package, higher package. So similarly, when we get, Prabhupada compares that with our human form of life compared to animal life. Human form of life is having so many privileges in our life compared to animals. Sometimes when I observe some animal species, they don't have sufficient food to eat, first of all. So unfortunate that they don't get enough food also to eat. Their whole day goes in searching for food. And one more thing, you see, sometimes they may get the food enough, but that may not be tasty. They don't get tasty food. So that is one more misfortune. Even though you get food, whatever you like, what quantity you get, but you don't the tasty food. And that is one more misfortune. So, and even more misfortune is, sometimes you may get some food which is very tasty, but that is very harmful to you. That is even more misfortune actually. And you cannot give up, and you don't get any other thing also. So if you see, this is the struggle for existence in the animal species. But if you see human species, we get not only enough food, but so many varieties of food. So in many ways, actually, not only just in regarding to food, in many ways our life is very comfortable compared to animal species. So why these things, while these facilities are provided, because whatever heavy responsibility which we are having, we can fulfill the responsibility in very happily, not happily, but somewhat comfortably. That's why big facilities are provided even in this world also to the people who are in bigger position. If some uh, IAS officer is there and he is having some separate big bungalow, and ministers are there, they are having some nice houses and security and workers in the home. So why? Because they can focus on their prime duty very properly, so that so many facilities are provided. So but when we accept the facilities and don't, you know, take care of the responsibility what is entrusted to us, then we become entangled in our life. So that is exactly happening with all the people, most of the people in the human form of the life. We accept the facilities and uh, we don't fulfill the responsibility. So here, if you see in this world, 99% of the people are in grihastha ashram. Grihastha ashram is the pillar for the entire society, and they are the people who support sannyas ashram, who support vanaprastha ashram, who support brahmacharya ashram, and that is a very key ashram, which is the, and not only that, that is going to shape the future of the world, because the prime responsibility of grihasthas are to beget a Krishna conscious children. Because they become the future generation, and what kind of children are going to come into this world, so they influence the further society in a great way. That's why in Bhagavad Gita, in the beginning chapter, Arjuna says about Varna Shankara population. When the woman gets polluted, the population are going to be Varna Shankara, and because of that, the whole world situation will be in very very havoc situation. Arjuna refers to that. So here, Prabhupada is speaking about Grihastha ashram, and it generally Prabhupada speaks two things. One is Grihastha and Gruha Medi. Actually, what is spoken is about Gruha Medi ashram, but here Prabhupada uses Grihastha only here, entire purport. He uses the word Grihastha only. But there are two categories are there. One is Grihastha and another is Gruha Medi. Grihastha is called ashram. Ashram is a place where we do shrama. We do a lot of hard work for perfecting our human form of life. In that way, it is called ashram. Brahmacharya ashram, grihastha ashram, vanaprastha ashram, sannyasa ashram. In every ashrama, the goal is same. The goal is to uh, make our journey towards our ultimate end, that is going back to Godhead. So to pursue our journey in that is the same purpose. Actually, the grihastha ashrama is also is there, but the gruhamedya ashram, it is completely centered around sense gratification. So that's what is here it is mentioned. So one story comes actually about a very rich person. He is so rich that he has everything more than needed. There is nothing lacking in his life. So one day he happened to attack with a heart attack, and he was resting, and the doctor came and he checked him, and doctor told to his sons that your father is worrying about something so much. Because of that worry, he met this heart attack. Then their sons couldn't understand actually how is it possible. Actually, he has everything, you know, whatever you can think of. There is nothing lacking in his life. There is nothing to worry in his life. First of all, no, I am sure he is having something great worry. Because of that, he got this heart attack. So much worry. You ask him and you set it right, then he will be all right. Okay, then they thought, and so they tell his mother, his wife, and the wife asks the husband, actually, my dear husband, actually, we heard that you are worrying about something. Doctor told, you know, What is that worry? We have everything. What is there to worry? Then he was little shy to explain. So but his wife told, what is there secret with me, please tell. Then he told, see my dear wife, I earned so much. Whatever I earned, it is for six generations also. It is sufficient, there is no shortage. But I am worrying about the seventh generation, what will happen to them. you know that made him so tense. And no, that that resulted in heart attack. That gave him heart attack actually. So this is actually, you can understand a typical Grahamedi life, which always centered around one's own sense gratification and extended sense gratification, not worrying about you know why this human form of life we have got, and how to utilize this for the best purpose. So here in Shastras, so many places actually about sex life is condemned. But if you see in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaks about, you know, dharmo avriddho bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshava. I am the sex life which is not contrary to religious principles. Sex life is not condemned, but sex life which is improperly handled, that is what condemned. In fact, it could be a greatest gift of God to the humanity, because a living entity which is wandering in the 84 lakh species of life in the Brahmanda, since time immemorial. So he gets a human form of body when a man and woman come together and give birth to a child. He gets a human form of body. So it is a great act of selfless service, could be. To the degree a person understands how they are entering into a relationship, first of all. Unfortunately, many people are not at all clear about why they are getting married, why they are getting into relationship. So all these things are not at all understood only, and people come into relationships just for the sake of sense gratification. And it is said, husband sees wife as a sex machine, wife sees husband as a ATM machine. Both are only about what can I get out of that person. In that way, everybody is making relationships. In that way, the truth is completely covered actually. There is no understanding about the truth. So when Prabhupada went to Western countries, he saw all our living together culture is there. you know uh, and Prabhupada saw, actually I have to introduce Krishna consciousness movement, and for that they have to follow four regulative principles. In that four regulative principles, there is no illicit sex is there. So how can we introduce Krishna consciousness for them? So Prabhupada told, you should get married and live like a proper husband and wife. That is a human civilization. So he personally got them married actually, even though he is sannyasi, he got them married, and he told them actually, so uh, this is how you become Krishna conscious, help each other. So one of the Mataji asked actually Prabhupada, you got us married. What is my relationship with my husband? Uh, so Prabhupada said, just like in a body, the left hand assists right hand in serving the body. Similarly, wife and husband should cooperate together and serve the Lord. That's what is your relationship with your husband. There should be divine couple between the couple. So that's what actually Prabhupada taught. That's a way actually a human form of life has to be. So, but unfortunately, the whole our culture is totally misdirected from the beginning of life only. For everything the formation is a brahmachari life. Now because a brahmachari training is not there since childhood, so there is no good grihastha ashrama. Because of that, nobody is getting retired from the grihastha ashrama, and there is no question of sannyasa ashrama only. So Prabhupada often speaks about what is education. Education begins with Chanakya Pandit Sloka. Prabhupada always says, Matravat Paradareshu Paradravyeshu Lostavat Atmaut Sarvabhuteshu Ya Pashyati Sa Panditaha. So this is the beginning of education, is to train a child to see every woman as mother. So that is the beginning of education. So now people are getting educated, but this fundamental principle is completely kept aside. Everybody sees other women as object of their enjoyment. So in that way, a human being is actually, in spite of being highly academically educated, is living not better than an animal. In fact, I heard we do school contest in value education. I heard from some teachers and principals. In school, we have the pledge, India is my country, all Indians are my brothers and sisters. When that line comes, nobody speaks about that line. All Indians are my brothers and sisters. So they are so clear about it actually. Nobody is my brother and sister. So that's how the education institutes are there like that now. So what we can expect when they grow up also. So Grihastha Ashrama is actually, if it is properly understood, it is a act of great compassion and service actually. To see, if you inviting a soul who is wandering in the 84 lakh species of life, and inviting the soul into the womb of the mother, and carrying it for 9 months and giving birth, and no, so many problems will be there. The child passes stool and urine and cries, and so many health crises, and no, it requires great selflessness actually on the part of father and mother to offer service to the child. So in one sense, actually, it is almost on the level of pure devotion service. It is a person completely offers himself, completely becomes selfless actually. It brings out the highest potential out of the person in a father or mother just by raising the child, because he completely brings out the best out of him. He learns the tolerance, forgiveness, compassion, everything he learns just by raising the child. So it brings a divine person out of him just by raising the child, with understanding. But ultimately, that becomes complete when make the child Krishna conscious, and make a way for him to put a end to the cycle of birth and death. So in that way, it is a act of great selfless service actually. So it is the same thing actually, in one sense, what a sannyasi do by getting some unknown soul into Krishna consciousness and training them. Like Prabhupada, he went into Western countries and he trained so many hippies about the goal of life, and he trained them in Krishna consciousness. The same thing which Grihastha Ashram also is doing by accepting a soul, adopting a soul, and offering love, care, and in that way training them and making them understand this is not the goal of life, Baba. Eating and sleeping, and our goal of life is to serve Krishna and go back to Godhead. In that way, they are Matrudeva Bhava, Pitrudeva Bhava. They are almost as good as gods actually for the child if they fulfill the responsibility. Whatever is heavy responsibility that is entrusted to them. So when the responsibility is very heavy, actually we cannot think about anything other than the responsibility. Actually, that's what is heavy responsibility is actually. We are completely focused upon what is responsibility which is entrusted to us. There is no time to think about anything. Right? We see now when exams are coming close, Before that we may play around, but when exams are so close, actually there is a lot of syllabus to complete. At that time we don't see here and there. So similarly, human form of life is a life of very heavy responsibility actually. When that is taken up seriously, you know that gives the ultimate joy actually, when you fulfill the responsibility, and the rewards are also very great. Hmm. So but unfortunately, a person doesn't understand the responsibility and doesn't understand the joy of fulfilling the responsibility, and doesn't if you see in Ramayana, that is a beauty actually. Everybody is so happy to accept the responsibility. Hmm. They are not after the what I will get privileges out of the responsibility. You know, Sita is also is going to the forest because my responsibility is to serve my husband. Lakshmana is also going to the forest. My responsibility is to serve my brother. Bharata is also after responsibility. He is not enjoying the privileges actually. They kept aside privileges and they are after responsibility. That is the joy of fulfilling the responsibility. That's what is Vedic life is all about. But modern life, first of all, we ask what I will get out of it. We don't talk about rights and responsibilities. We talk about rights, but when it comes to responsibilities, we least bothered about the responsibility. In that way, a human being degraded into animal species of life, even though externally in the human form of body. So if you see in the Bhagavatam also, there are examples about uh, ideal household life. That is, we see about the story of Kardama Muni. So when he was about to he was given the responsibility of begetting children, he undergoes tapasya, to Lord Vishnu, to get a suitable wife. First of all, to get a suitable wife and children. And we see that Daksha's sons are also there, Haryashvas and Chavalasvas. They are also undergoing tapasya to purify their existence, because it is a great responsibility to continue the lineage. And if the next generation is not proper, then that is a responsibility of the previous generation who did not brought the good offspring in the future. So that's how we see Kardamani, when uh, by the blessings of Lord Vishnu, he gets a wife Devahuti. So at that time only he proposes actually, I am going to remain with you when the child is going to be born, and I am going to take Vanaprastha afterwards. So before entering into Grahastha life only, he is planning about Vanaprastha life. So that is considered a ideal household life. So, and on the other hand, actually, we see the scriptures is again warns about the you know uh, improper use of this sex life. That is, so many stories are there in the scriptures. Ajamila story is there because he went into association of a prostitute, and he completely forgot about how his life is going. All of a sudden death came, like here the tiger is there behind. So suddenly he realized actually how my time is gone completely. Hmm. So and the story about Yayati, that is also the same story. And Pururava story is also there in Bhagavatam, who is completely engrossed in sense gratification and completely got deviated. And you can see how the great consequences are there about you know about the unfulfilled lust from the Ramayana and Mahabharata are themselves great scriptures. The whole story about actually about misdirected sex life. So in that way we can see the scriptures are full of warnings also, and about good examples also, what to do and what not to do also. So by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we can see in our society there are so many very ideal grahasthas also are there. They are considered as good as sannyasis. who are in Grihastha ashrama and who are leading a ideal household life according to the scriptures. They are none other than sannyasis, almost like sannyasis. We have spiritual masters are also there in our moment who are in Grihastha ashrama. So in that way, actually, it's a great hope also for us to look forward their good examples and emulate their model. So we have in front of us His Grace Anandmai Prabhu, who is also a very great example, and many more examples also are there. To see in Grihastha Ashrama also a person how he cannot be remain entangled, and like Bhagavad Gita speaks about Padma Patra Vambasa, is there, the lotus leaf is there, you know, the water is there and the lotus leaf, but the lotus leaf is completely unaffected by that. So here at some point of time it is we have to get retired. It is said here Prabhupada is giving 50 years of time, you know, but I am hearing in one of the senior devotees speaking the 50 years of time, it is referring to 100 years of life we have. Understand? If you have 100 years of life, then 50 years is retirement. But now if that is not then if it is 70 years or 80 years, then the retirement should be 50 of that. So in that way, actually, you know, we have to be prepared for actually ultimate end of life. So because of not realizing this, actually, because the material nature is very perfectly arranged in such a way, it always gives us reminders in the form of different kinds of miseries, you know. So that's a reminder to person who is engrossed in, in this material world illusion. So many of the times, even after the reminder comes, a living entity doesn't wake up. So that is an unfortunate condition. I will end with one small story. So there is a construction building is there, in that construction is happening. So in that, some worker is working on the ground floor, and the top floor one supervisor is there. He want to say something to the ground floor worker, and he is shouting at him, and he is not at all in a position to hear. So he thinks, actually, I have to somehow or other and draw his attention. So he takes a coin, and he drops in front of the worker who is there. So that exactly falls in front of him, and that fellow, he sees the coin and picks up and keeps in the pocket. And this fellow thinks, actually, he may see up because, but he is not seeing up. Okay, let me try again. Then he drops one more coin, even bigger coin, you know and then also he picks it up and keeps in the pocket. He drops one more coin, 10 rupees coin. That time also he picks it and keeps in the pocket. Then he thinks, no, not this, actually. Then he picks up a stone and he throws it in such a way that falls upon his body. And as soon as stone hits, he sees up, hey, who is that fellow who is hitting me? Then he calls up, you fellow, I am the same person before I threw the coins. At that time you did not see me, but when I throw the stone, you are cursing me. Sometimes the pain is the only way by which God can communicate to us. When the privileges and facilities which are given, when that is not helping us to communicate the message, when the pain which is sent, that is a way to communicate, actually. So because of that, now we see so many problems are there, actually, in this world, because of mishandling whatever facilities what we have and forgetting our prime responsibility. Because of that, so many problems are there. So all these problems are none other than a wake up call to understand there is something wrong we are doing. So we have to think about it, where we are going wrong, and reinstate in our situation. So in that way, Prabhupada made everything so crystal clear, actually, through his books, through Bhaktivedanta purports. And he gave the process also, he gave the systems also, and he gave good association of devotees, role models also in our life. So just by taking advantage of these things, we can perfect our human form of life. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की, श्रील प्रभुपाद की. Is Grace Anandmai Prabhu, you want to add anything? Hare Krishna.